is Ingi from Taringi, and I'm going to talk about Four of Swords. Four of Swords, if you look at the picture, it is someone who is laying down. This is in the Rider-Waite deck. And I just finished recording the Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords are piercing the heart. And now this person is laying with three swords pointing downwards. It's not piercing the seeker. And the seeker is laying on top of Ace of Swords. It's unclear what really has occurred. Is this person asleep? Has this person passed away? Like, what is going on? So this card, it symbolizes non-action. It is not getting involved in drama. So the Three of Swords can't actually attach itself to the seeker because they're not allowing it to. They're not biting back. They're not taking the bait. Then you see the glass paintings, the religious paintings. The seeker has had, it is kind of like a death. They've had some kind of transformation. It's healing. The swords are not out of the seeker. They might remember it, they might think about it, but it doesn't have an emotional effect. It doesn't give the seeker turmoil anymore. They have mastered something of the mind that gives them peace and quiet. And this card often speaks of that time in your life where you get rest, where you get time out, when there's end of conflict, where you can get enough sleep, where you get rejuvenated, where you get to meditate and do the things that rejuvenates you. It usually means people will get enough sleep and they will be able to disconnect for a while. It's like, if there's been turmoil especially, this means the end of trouble, burying of the hatchet. Because this person is laying this way, it also is a symbol of not letting the day-to-day drama have such a overwhelming effect, because the seeker is very aware of that life, it's fragile, it's short, it's all those things that maybe we overreact to them. The seeker has a very good mindset about things. It's no point overreacting to these things, because what's important is the here and now, being alive. So if you do get this card, have a look where in the layout it showed up, what cards are around it. It can mean that there has been a lot of stress and that the seeker has had to make a conscious decision of completely disconnecting from it. In a love reading, Four of Swords often speaks of very long-term relationship where they're almost turned into one person. It's a peaceful relationship. There's no stress here. If the seeker is single, it can mean that they're at peace at being single, and they want it that way. They're not in a rush to settle down. But if you're asking how you will meet, this can mean that you're going to meet at a retreat, or if you're working in healthcare, you're going to most likely meet in a hospital or somewhere where there is like taking care of people. If you're asking how you can manifest love and you get Four of Swords, then take time out of your busy schedule. Go somewhere where it's peaceful and quiet. That will manifest into meeting somebody. It's actually stepping a little bit away from the busy day-to-day. In a career reading, this can mean working in a hospital, taking care of people. It can also speak of administrative work that is very sort of passive. It's more passive. Sometimes this is also legal work, because it's like end of conflict. It's like resolution of where there's been some conflict and coming to some kind of agreement. So Four of Swords can also mean that you're going to end up taking care of someone. It doesn't have to necessarily be in a medical setting. It can mean that you take care of your colleagues, that you create a peaceful and tranquil environment at work, so that people, when they come to work, they feel that they're taken care of, that they can put their guards down, they don't have to feel stressed. Can mean a type of work where you don't have to stress much. Maybe even it is night work. Maybe it is work that is quite easy, but it serves a purpose because the seeker really needs this time now to disconnect from stress. In a yes, no, it is most likely a no, only because Four of Swords is a card of rest. So if you want something to happen, Four of Swords can mean that it's not going to happen yet. There's going to be some delays. Four of Swords as feelings can mean that the seeker feels very peaceful. They feel balanced, and they feel that they just want to get rest. They want to have a quiet existence. If you're asking how someone feels about you, it can mean that this person feels that you're a very caring and loving person, that they can be themselves around you, that they can really relax around you. If you have known this person for a long time, maybe they feel that you are just completely compatible, and Four of Swords can mean that they feel like you're the one that they are the most compatible with and they can be themselves with. Four of Swords as a personality type is someone who's calm. They can be a bit placid, non-confrontational. They learn to get along with others. And they often make great partners and friends because they don't get upset easily. They are easy to get along with and they like peace. So these are people who like life to be simple. They avoid busy places. They don't necessarily like crowds. Like, this is someone who like it more away from the main sort of a hub. They like it more where they can relax, they can take time out, and they can reflect. So they like peace and quiet. They like silence. They like to reflect and gather their thoughts. They are often very cerebral as well. They like to ponder and think about things. And they like taking breaks. They like daydreaming. They love spiritual activities. When Four of Swords is reversed, then it means that there is no rest. And it can mean even burnouts. It can be that they have lived such stressful lives that they're unable to even relax. They could be completely conditioned to be on the go all the time. They could have thoughts and beliefs that interrupts the seeker from getting any kind of recuperation. And also can mean that the seeker has an injury that prevents them from getting comfortable. So they're just uncomfortable, basically. They could need constant stimulation. Maybe they want it always to be noisy. They want to always be in a big, busy crowd. They just want that constant stimulation to feel at peace. They have like the radio on, the TV on, the computer on. They're doing a million things at the same time. But it ends up actually being a lack of progress in their life. And often with all these distractions, they end up procrastinating. As a personality type, it can mean someone who's, they're unable to relax. They have problems sometimes also in relationships because they just don't know how to really just go in the flow in the relationship. It's a lot of disruption in personal relationships. They need to clear their mind of clutter. There's a lot of clutter in the mind, and you can see that in their surroundings is often very messy as well. They can turn into hoarders, or they have very messy houses. They long for harmonious, more of a harmonious living situation, but what they tend to do is to settle for less than they deserve. They need to work on clarity, but their minds are often too cluttered for clarity, and they end up making bad decisions in love and in their life in general. So they deal with issues in a poor way often, and they often end up staying in places where they don't belong, and they feel often very ill at ease, but they're unable to do something about it. So it can be a bit of a negative cycle for them. Let's find out what the runes have to say about Four of Swords. So I'm getting Yera. Yera is really the rune for being quite busy actually, but it's actually also for being fruitful. So Four of Swords, when it is at its best, it's about being in harmony with the cycles. It's like you slow down, you're able to slow down when it's time for slowing down, because the cycles in your life is also a cycle. You have many cycles. Sometimes will require you to slow down. And then I'm getting 30 sus, but it was a little bit sideways, a little bit up. So that can mean that the seeker is really putting their awareness towards the sky, like they're thinking of spiritual things. And when they're thinking about a boundary, because the 30 sus rune really is about boundary, they're thinking more spiritually. What is a spiritual boundary? So with the 3 swords that are pointing towards the seeker, that's more a spiritual pursuit for the seeker. They're thinking of a spiritual boundary as a divine, maybe they're thinking about divine consequences and things like that. So, and also that's why I think this is very appropriate then, that the persons seem to be laying down in church. So they're thinking about, maybe they're thinking about spiritual warfare or spiritual devotion and doing right by their spiritual conviction. So a 4 of Swords person is someone who's very obedient to their religious conviction and spiritual conviction, and they want to do good. So this is someone who's very, they think about their karma, they're thinking about the consequences, but they're not too worried about day-to-day drama. They're thinking more of the big picture of, more of life from a divine spiritual perspective. That's really important to them. So 4 of Swords really is about the seeker contemplating what is their divine purpose, and they're taking this time out to find it, but they're very much in they don't want to let down God. So if you want to if you get 4 of Swords and you want to maximize the potential for 4 of Swords, the lesson in 4 of Swords is to find out what is your divine purpose and goal. And once you align yourself with that, life will be very harmonious and it will flow in beautiful ways. But of course, if it's reversed, then it's like being out of that alignment, or being maybe not even trusting in it. But 4 of Swords upright is someone who's really trusting in divine wisdom. So that's something the rune were able to speak to me about today. So the runes are really good at getting to the core of the cards. So if you're interested in oracle mixing, my rune course is part of the bundle, and also Patreon as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know how you find 4 of Swords in your life. And the next card I'm going to talk about is 5 of Swords. Bye guys!